October 17, 2025, in the Kursk region, a lone Russian soldier moving near Ukrainian defensive positions was detected. The 414th Unmanned Strike Aviation Brigade tracked his movements for a while before launching an FPV drone for the attack. Realizing the drone was heading straight toward him, the Russian soldier opened fire, desperately trying to shoot it down. He fought back, but it wasn't enough. After several quick maneuvers, the Ukrainian FPV drone found the perfect angle and struck its target with precision. A unit of the Ukrainian Navy detected a Russian unmanned vessel in Ukrainian territorial waters near a civilian shipping route. The Ukrainian Navy and Ministry of Defense struck the Russian military vessel. A Russian soldier attempting to enter the abandoned hangar is suddenly attacked by an FPV drone. The Russian soldier noticed the drone approaching and tried to escape, but it was too late. In the Pokrovsk region, an FPV drone belonging to the Ukrainian 7th Army Corps targeted a Russian soldier. The soldier did not survive. October 17, 2025. A lone Russian soldier was spotted in the Andriivka region. The Russian soldier, trying to escape from the drone in the forest, gradually tired and fell to the ground. Before he could get up and run again, he became the drone's direct target. While advancing alone in the Kupiansk region, a Russian soldier spotted the drone following him and immediately ran to hide in the bushes. However, this was a huge mistake. Ukrainian kamikaze drones repeatedly attacked the location where the Russian soldier was hiding. The soldier did not survive these attacks. A group of Russian soldiers who did not cross the river in the Donetsk region were detected by the Ukrainian 225th Assault Regiment. Artillery fire was directed at the soldiers and all of them were neutralized. Across thousands of kilometers of front line, Russian soldiers remain constant targets for Ukraine's FPV drones. Most of the time, they move alone or in small groups, often without coordination or clear direction, wandering through the battlefield completely exposed. Ukraine's drone presence has become overwhelming. There are so many reconnaissance and strike drones in the air that Russian troops have virtually no chance of avoiding detection. Out in these vast open fields, there's nowhere to hide, nowhere to escape, and every movement risks being their last under the watchful eyes of Ukrainian operators. Ukrainian drone operators from the Pentagon unit of the 225th Assault Regiment carried out a precise strike in the Sumy direction. Using FPV drones, they tracked and eliminated Russian soldiers who had taken up positions near the front line. A Russian military vehicle transporting supplies to the front line was hit by a kamikaze drone. The supplies in the vehicle caught fire and began burning. Russian soldiers were detected on the radar of a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone. The soldiers were exiting a building. Upon closer inspection, it became apparent that the Russian soldiers had parked a military vehicle there. An FPV kamikaze drone was immediately dispatched and struck the military vehicle the soldiers had hidden. A Ukrainian FPV drone lying in wait on the road captured a Russian military vehicle. The soldiers tried to jump out of the vehicle at the last moment, but were unsuccessful. Ukrainian drone pilots from the SBU continued to target Russian soldiers and equipment. Over the past 2 weeks, numerous military vehicles were destroyed and a great deal of Russian military equipment was eliminated. Many tanks and BMP armored personnel carriers were also rendered ineffective by FPV drones. Russian forces are still suffering heavy losses on the front lines against drones. Another Russian soldier was spotted by Ukrainian forces in a wooded area in the Donetsk region. The Russian soldier tried to escape from the drone, but the drone pilot maneuvered quickly and got into a position to attack the Russian soldier. In the Lyman region, the Ukrainian Signum Battalion continued to target Russian soldiers with fiber optic drones. Russian soldiers became targets of the drones one by one along the logistics route. Infantrymen, motorcycle soldiers and Russian soldiers using ATVs became targets of the drones. 2 soldiers caught in a drone in the field couldn't escape the drone. The FPV drone pilot, maneuvering extensively even within the forest, managed to target the Russian soldier. When you look closely, you can see a Russian soldier entering a house trying to hide. Ukrainian drones quickly moved in for the attack. The house where the soldier took cover was hit multiple times, one strike after another. The bombardment continued until the building was completely destroyed, leaving no chance for survival or escape. A building housing Russian FPV drone pilots was bombed by Ukrainian warplanes. No movement was detected after the attack, indicating that all soldiers lost their lives. We must emphasize that the comments and likes you, our valued viewers, leave on our videos really give us great morale and support. Your support is very important to us. 2 Russian soldiers walking around with water bottles in their hands also became targets of the drone. The Russian soldier traveling by motorcycle did not notice the drone approaching from behind to attack him. He continued to ride along comfortably until the very last moment. A Russian FPV drone, lying in wait along the route of Russian troops, was destroyed by a Ukrainian FPV drone. The Ukrainian Drone Attack Unit K2 targeted a Russian T-72 tank. The Russian tank was so heavily armored that it moved very slowly. The heavy armor added to the exterior of the Russian tank for defense against drones was still ineffective against high-explosive drone attacks. A large Russian attack convoy moved toward Ukrainian positions to launch an assault. However, they encountered a stronger defense than they had anticipated. Dozens of FPV drones attacked the Russian military vehicles. Initially, Russian BMP vehicles were targeted and rendered ineffective. Later, Russian motorcycle groups within the convoy were also targeted by FPV drones. When Russian soldiers began to scatter across an area of hundreds of kilometers, the FPV drones this time detected Russian infantry hiding in the area one by one and pursued them. This Russian attack attempt resulted in very heavy losses. You can support us by liking and commenting on the video. The Ukrainian 63rd Mechanized Brigade carried out a series of drone strikes in the Toretsk area, targeting Russian positions. Their main focus was on military vehicles, many of which had been left unprotected in open positions. One by one, those vehicles were destroyed. As mentioned before, Russian forces in the region rely heavily on signal jammers for protection. But as we know, these systems are completely ineffective against fiber optic FPV drones, which remain fully controllable even in heavy electronic warfare zones. So far, Russia has not developed an effective defense against these drones, and that continues to cost them heavily on the front lines. Ukraine's 68th Mountain Infantry Battalion identified and destroyed Russian underground positions in the Kursk region. Russian soldiers have now begun building underground shelters to counter the drone threat in the area. However, this is still not a solution. Ukrainian forces prefer to strike any location that stands out in the battlefield with drones. The reason so many attacks can be carried out is that Ukraine now has a very high drone production capacity. That's why they can launch drone attacks repeatedly on any location they deem suspicious. What are your thoughts on drone attacks? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Once again, a large Russian convoy was spotted by Ukrainian reconnaissance drones as it moved toward new positions in the Donetsk region. It was a big mistake for such a large convoy to move without any defense against drones. Shortly thereafter, Ukrainian FPV drones launched an attack on the Russian convoy. Not only the drones, but Ukrainian artillery and mortar units also relentlessly attacked the convoy, completely scattering it. As the footage shows, FPV drone strikes continue to define the front lines. Russian forces are struggling to advance under constant drone surveillance and precision attacks. Every convoy, every trench, every position they try to hold is quickly exposed and targeted. Ukraine's drone operators maintain full control of the skies, striking with speed and accuracy, day and night. For Russian troops, movement has become a risk, supply lines are breaking down, and morale continues to fall. The battlefield is changing. Drones are no longer support weapons. They are now the decisive force shaping the outcome of this war. As this phase of the war unfolds, one thing becomes increasingly clear. Drone warfare has completely reshaped modern combat. FPV and kamikaze drones give Ukrainian forces unmatched precision and flexibility, allowing them to strike anywhere, anytime.